Well, hello everyone. What you're looking at is the steering on the starboard side of my 1973 Egg Harbor Sportfish boat. Now all of this linkage and steering and the wood below it supporting it has been removed in a previous episode. And here you see the same area with the steering linkage removed, and you can see the top of the rudder and the collar that retains the rudder, and the support wood is still in place at this point. Now we move over to the port side, and here's the linkage before it was removed, and this wood support. And all this linkage was removed in episode 38, and the wood was removed in a subsequent episode. So now you're seeing the same area. That's the top of the rudder with all the steering linkage removed, and you can see the collar there. The wood is still in place in this picture, but it has all been removed. So that brings us to this episode where we're fast forwarding, and we're going to be removing the rudders and the rudder ports. Okay, I'm just measuring to see how tall this rudder shaft is. It's 15 inches from the top to the fiberglass here, and then I probably have to go another couple inches at least to drop this shaft all the way out and get it out. So we'll have to go outside and see what we have for room. I know I don't have that much. I'm going to have to dig a little trench, I think. So it looks like we have about 10 inches, so I got to dig at least, 15, 17, 7 or 8 inches down right here, be able to drop this all the way down and get it out. We've got 19 inches, so that should be enough. So, and I just put this strap and this piece of wood on here just to hold it up. So we'll take that out. It's like a lock nut and an Allen head set screw. I'm going to clean this just so hopefully it slides through a little bit better. So I just put this board here so when this drops, it doesn't just drop in the hole in case I lose grip of it up there. It didn't drop like I thought it was going to, but that's good. Pull this out. And probably didn't see the top because you're at an angle, but dropped out with a couple inches to spare. So that worked out good. Now I'll fill the hole in. Alright, so we're going to try to take off the gland nut, the packing gland nut, and the lock nut here. Now I've never done this before, but I have seen people do it on YouTube, so they make it look easy. And I thought it was going to be difficult. I just brought over 2 pipe wrenches and a big breaker bar. And I did the port side one, and I didn't need any of it. So hopefully this side is just as easy. I've already squirted WD-40 on the top here at the joint between the lock nut and the gland nut, and some down here on the threads. So hopefully this goes as good as the other side. Now I've got this pipe wrench here. I've seen people use specialty wrenches and things. Anything I don't like about these pipe wrenches is, it's got these teeth on it, which are great for getting around the pipe part. But when you get on these flats of these nuts, it kind of gouges them and stuff. So what I did, I never saw anybody do this. I just decided to do it. This one here is going to be, I'm going to be turning it this way, clockwise. So this jaw here is what is going to dig into the nut. So I just put a flat piece in here like this. And I kind of got it on here and shoved this in. So I just did that so it doesn't dig in, and then I just gave it a good whack and it came off on the other side. Hopefully this does the same. And it doesn't. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this with my ankle, but there we go. So there's a little chamfer on this side, so you know which way goes towards the packing. The other side doesn't have that. Here's that nut with the packing in it. That's the top and this the bottom. And the packing is right in here. You can see this material. And there's 2 layers in there. Turn it sideways, you might be able to see better. There's 2 layers in there. And yeah, that's how it seals the shaft. Tighten that up and it squeezes it up against the shaft, and that seals it. There's one of the layers of the packing material, and you can see it's got the cut there. So the thing is, like, I think this one was in this way with the cut over here. So on the other one, it should be like 180 degrees off, so the cut will be on this side. That way it's going to seal better. You don't want them lining up. And then here's the shaft log. And this plate, I'm not 100% sure, but judging by I can get this ground off here, out of the way. So this plate here is just a backing plate, judging by how this squeezed out here. So this should probably just come right off once I unscrew it. And then the rest of it goes down through. Got all the anti-foul off of it. I just chipped it away with a hammer and chisel, screwdriver. And you can see the bolts are these, they look like carriage bolts. They have no slot or anything in them. So it'll be interesting to see what they look like when we get them off of there. Didn't turn the camera on when I knocked those bolts out. So I'll film the other side and pretend it's this side. Looks like there's about maybe 1/8 of an inch gap around this whole thing. So I'm going to try to just pick at all this sealant that's in here. It's like a 5200 type sealant. And just pick as much of it as I can out of here, so when I try to push this down, the sealant isn't holding it up. So I'm just going to do that kind of on my own, and we'll get back to you when we try to drop it. It did take me about an hour to get all of the sealant out from around this tube here so that I can drop it down. I used this pick type thing and just kind of got in there, a screwdriver too, and got it out, and I used my Stanley blade knife and whatever I could, and then to get it out I just shoved this screwdriver down here like this and just hit along here just to free it up on the bottom, and I used my putty knives and things to try to free it up, and then eventually it came loose and I was able to just wiggle it a little and drop it out. The bolts are carriage bolts. They have the square cut here, and the actual plate has square cuts in it so they don't turn. The bolts are all bent. They were all bent. So they were torqued at some point after the fact, I think. So I'm going to replace them. So I don't know how much. They're not going to be cheap, I'm sure. Bronze carriage bolts, probably 3-inch long. So I'm going to replace them all. I'm sure they're all the same for the struts too down here. But yeah, most of them are in good shape. They're just bent. This one here, I'm going to show you that this one here has it's all corroded on this side here. So anyways, I'm going to replace them if I can find them. But one thing I wanted to show on this actual piece here, I'll do it this way. You can see this one hole here. Factory had an issue, so they had to grind it. So it's not even square now. It has this ground area, so their holes didn't line up when they did it. So I don't know. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, even from the factory. I'm sure this was never taken off because there would be no reason to take it off, and none of this wood was all chunked up like I really destroyed the plywood. So luckily I'm replacing it all, but it made a mess of the plywood here. But this was really tenacious stuff. It's like a 5200, I'm sure, or something similar, and it really stuck well. I didn't even get it all off. But anyways, that job's done. Alright, so the plan is to fiberglass this transom here in the next couple days. But since I have to remove this, I'll have to cut this right here and get this out of here first. Saw how easy that came out. Wasn't adhered down and it was still kind of wet, so glad I'm doing this.